If there's one thing we hate, it's when the government tries to tell us what we can and can't play. Perhaps there should be an addition to the Bill of Rights stating that gamers can choose what they can and cannot play. Either way, a tyrannical government should make that decision. If you enjoy playing video games and don't want them to get banned, then we're probably going to be on the same team. So why not get a head start by subscribing to The Gamer and ringing that bell to become part of our notification squad so you never miss a video. Without further ado, here are 9 harmless games that were banned around the world. Number 1. EA Sports MMA. If you never had the pleasure of picking up EA Sports MMA, we're truly sorry. Although there were plenty of great hits by EA like EA Sports UFC, the MMA fighting game had a lot to compete with, and most of the titles seem to bring it to the ring in competitive form. You would think a country may ban a game for a number of reasons like graphic violence, foul language, or sexual content, all the good stuff. But Denmark seems to do things just a little differently, especially when it comes to EA Sports MMA. Denmark banned EA Sports MMA because of a law which prohibited the marketing of energy drinks. EA refused to remove it from the game, so the game could not be directly sold in the country unless it was found on the shelves as an import. In order to preserve the game's authenticity, EA Sports decided to cancel the game's release in the region. We aren't actually sure which is worse, the fact no one in the country gets to play the game because of a pair of pants with energy drink marketing on them, or the fact that EA willingly decided to lose out on a bunch of money and not change the pants to something else because it would ruin the authenticity of an MMA game. When has EA ever cared about that? Just look at the Star Wars Battlefront to see what we mean. Money over content has always been their motto. Tell us how you really feel, gamer, huh? For those of you who know what we mean, we're sorry for bringing back those nightmares so soon. Number 2. Football Manager 2005. Football Manager 2005 must have done a few things right, as they received a Platinum Sales Award from the Entertainment and Leisure Software Publishers Association, with indicated sales of at least 300,000 copies in the United Kingdom. Things were not going as smoothly in another country for this particular title, however. The game had been all-out banned in China. The country decided to ban the game because they were including Tibet and Taiwan as independent and separate countries in the imported releases. China felt that its content is harmful to their sovereignty and territorial integrity, and that it seriously violates Chinese law and has been strongly protested by our nation's gamers. It was Sports Interactive who published a statement to China's comments, which stated that the offended version was not translated into Chinese as it was not supposed to be released in the country. The games were believed to have been received illegally either by imports or downloads, and then written to CD inboxed in illegal software shops in China. A few other copyright issues were included in the game. German goalkeeper Oliver Kahn had to be removed and was replaced by the name Jens Mustermann. Translates to Sample Man. It was put there as a dig at Kahn because Kahn didn't want his image or name to be used in computer games. The German team in the game also never picks real players. Instead, only grayed out fictional ones are optional to choose. The Japanese league teams were also changed to fictional names, and the names of major European trophies were changed to fictional names as well. So although quite a few changes had to be made, the game was still extremely successful, just not if a country had a very strict and intolerant regime. Number 3. BLAZBLUE CONTINUUM Shift. BLAZBLUE CONTINUUM Shift is a pretty epic tale and is set after the events of the original game, BLAZBLUE Calamity Trigger. It keeps true to the traditional 2D fighter style in the sequel, and 2 characters participate in a duel. To win the round, one player must incapacitate the opposing player by inflicting damage and reducing their health. The game is a fast-paced fighter, but there shouldn't be any reason to ban it. However, the United Arab Emirates decided that it was a bit too risque for their country to allow it. The Zen United said the game was banned in the Middle East because the National Media Council felt the game's characters were showing too much skin. Looking over the character list, most people wouldn't be too offended by what they saw, especially when you're looking at other characters from similar games like Mortal Kombat. In that game, you have women like Li Mei, who's basically wearing a shiny purple bikini, and Melina, who takes it a step further with her outfit. We aren't sure how she's even fighting without losing what little clothing she has left, but she makes it happen, and I'm paying attention. Don't worry though, the United Arab Emirates didn't play favorites. They also banned Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter because of the characters' outfits. We can't have a bunch of teen guys running around fantasizing about this kind of stuff, even though they're probably doing it anyways. Number 4. Command & Conquer Generals. If you're a fan of real-time strategy games, we're happy to say Command & Conquer Generals is one of the best you'll play. There are various unit types that may be constructed by the player. These can range from infantry to vehicles and air units. The US, the People's Republic of China, and the Global Liberation Army can be controlled by the player, and each has a unique set of abilities while they still share some of the same characteristics. If you've played Age of Empires or StarCraft, this game would be easy to pick up. Players select buildings to bring up build orders and to purchase upgrades. The game can be played in both single-player and multiplayer mode. While most countries didn't see anything wrong with the game, it was banned in 2 countries, Germany and China. Those 2 again, huh? Wow. In mainland China, the General series was banned because, throughout the campaign, the player must use heavy-handed tactics. They weren't a fan of leveling the Hong Kong Convention and Exhibition Center after it replaced the GLA base. Oh, and the fact that the Three Gorges Dam is destroyed, releasing a flood obliterating GLA forces. The Chinese forces liberally used nuclear weaponry in the game, and, in the introduction of the game, Tiananmen Square and the surrounding areas in Beijing are decimated by stolen nuclear warheads. China doesn't allow any game to show their military in a negative light or portray their country as being destroyed, even fictionally. The game was originally released in Germany, but due to an imminent Iraq war, the Federal Department for Media Harmful to Young People placed the game onto the list of media harmful to young people 2 months after the release. The law forbids further public advertising and sales of the game to anyone 18 and under. The game was believed to allow underage people the ability to play the war in Iraq before the real war would begin. Since the player would be able to kill civilians and it glorified war, the country decided to pull the game. A German version was released for the market, which didn't incorporate real-world factions or any related to terrorism. The suicide bomber was instead turned to a rolling bomb, and all the infantry units was turned into cyborgs. So the game looked much more different than intended. Number 5. Pokémon Go. Pokémon Go was a huge success as far as mobile games go. The game became a global phenomenon and more than 500 million downloads by the end of 2016. There was quite a few positives to the game, including promoting physical activity among youth, bringing in more foot traffic to local businesses, and increasing the popularity of augmented reality games. The game also had quite a bit of controversy, leading to bans in multiple countries. It caused various accidents and became a public nuisance in some locations. Governments expressed security concerns. So let's check out all the reasons Pokémon Go was banned in countries. Iran was the first country to ban the game for reasons of civil security. The game has hotspots where it's dangerous for civilians to be, like right in the middle of a combat zone. The High Council of Virtual Spaces of Iran banned the game for this reason because they wanted to keep their citizens safe. Egypt banned the game for religious reasons and considered playing it against the law of Islam, which makes it illegal. They compared the game to drinking alcohol and stated it silently inflicts damage to players and has a considerable impact on development. They also banned it because it was seen as a distraction to citizens and employees. Oh, yeah, they got that right. The game was also banned in Turkey because it believed it negatively affect the prestige and greatness of mosques in the country. Players chose to collect Pokemon instead of worship Islam, as the developers decided to use Pokestops and gyms at mosques across the country. Some of this stuff kind of makes some sense, doesn't it? Number 6. Mass Effect. Mass Effect is probably one of the most harmless games on the market, as well as one of the best stories so far as video games go. The sci-fi action role-playing game was banned in Singapore, though. Why was this harmless game banned? It was because of one particular love scene which occurs between a female human, if that's what the player chooses, and an alien Asari. Kinky. However, the Asari only has one gender, so it was kind of hard to know if it was male or female, even though the alien appeared to be an alien woman. The country also put a ban on a few other well-known harmless games like God of War 2 for nudity, and The Darkness for excessive violence and religiously offensive expletives. Gamers in Singapore weren't going to give up getting their hands on Mass Effect so easily, though. It was decided by the Media Development Authority of Singapore that they would reverse their decision on Mass Effect. They originally decided the inclusion of a lesbian love scene in the game was unsuitable, but Singapore was the only country in the world choosing to ban the game, and it caused an uproar among gamers. Never mess with a highly addictive game series like Mass Effect by trying to keep it from players. There will be consequences, as shown in Singapore. Number 7. Mark Echo's Getting Up, Contents Under Pressure. The game was long awaited in many countries, but one country didn't get to enjoy the fun game known as Mark Echo's Getting Up, Contents Under Pressure. Australia's Classification Review Board denied the game a rating and instead banned it outright in the country. The board listed the game's realistic scenarios, whereby the central character, Train, acquires his knowledge of graffiti tips, techniques, and styles as a promotion of street art. The game rewards players for graffiti and includes the biographies of famous street artists. It discusses how all these artists began their career by doing street art illegally, and some still do. Strangely, the game is about a tyrannical government who thinks street art is obscene and should never be done, but it turns out the Australian government feels the same way. Who knows, maybe by providing its citizens with a virtual world to do their street art, it might eliminate their need to actually commit this harmless crime. Interestingly, the game isn't the first one the Office of Film and Literature Classification has taken a second look at. Other titles included BMX XXX, Manhunt, Grand Theft Auto 3, and San Andreas, as well as Narc, The Punisher, and many others. Some of the titles were eventually granted ratings, while others were just outright banned. Basically, what we've discovered is this department seems to take their job a little too seriously. Number 8. Sims 4. The Sims 4 seems like a pretty harmless game since it's a simulation created in a fictional world, but if anyone can make a stink about nothing, it's Russia. Sorry, Russians. The Sims 4 was banned because it includes the ability to form homosexual relationships, as well as allows them to have children. The game received a mature rating, but before this new rating was put in place, it was banned. Now only anyone over the age of 18 can play it, even though the game is regarded as a harmless life simulator in most other places. The main objective is to buy objects, make friends, get your sim on a good career path, and design homes. What's so mature about that? The reason the game has been slipped with a mature rating is due to a Russian law, which states homosexual relationships are harmful to children. This 2012 law has proven to be extremely controversial and was also the cause of high-profile protests during the Sochi Winter Olympics. This isn't the first time something has been banned in the country due to homosexuality. You may remember the Overwatch comic featured popular character Tracer as a lesbian was also banned. The comic was unreadable on the Russian version of Overwatch's website, and all you could access was the cover with a message plaster over it reading the following: "In accordance with Russian law, we cannot share this comic with our players on the territory of the Russian Federation." Russia has banned anything it views as gay propaganda, and this includes anything even within the virtual realm of things. Number 9. Mega Man 5. The fifth game of the Mega Man series, a well-known title about our hero Mega Man who tries to stop a mad scientist Dr. Willy. Dr. Willy has attempted to take over the world along with Proto Man, his secret brother who was once an ally to Mega Man. Proto Man now leads an army of robots attacking the world to cripple it and to kidnap his creator, Dr. Light. The game sounds harmless enough, but it was banned in one country, Vietnam. This country had a dark past when it came to chemical weapons, and Capcom found itself under fire for the inclusion of villain Napalm Man. The people in the country felt it was offensive to include such a character and didn't want to give players flashbacks to the Vietnam War. Capcom could have just changed the name of the villain, as it probably would have been easier, but most of the games in this generation were not touched post-release, so it remained the same to appeal to audiences of other nations. Did we miss any harmless game bans in this video? Do you agree with any of these bans? Let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to TheGamer to stay up to date with all things gaming.